It feels like a lot like it rapping in Hamilton, in that everybody was like, "Did you rap before? I mean, like no one's ever seen you rap."
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Renee, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm so happy to see you and hear you.
First and foremost, this show is so infectiously funny and so well done. So first, congratulations on the show. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
So I've watched the first 3 episodes, and what I love about this is watching you be able to lead your comedic voice to this show with everybody else. Because I feel like we haven't gotten that from you in a while now. And so has this just been such a fun project to work on for you?
Absolutely. I feel like when the opportunity came across my desk, everybody was like, "You got to show people that you're funny. You've got to show your people that are funny." It feels like a lot like it rapping in Hamilton, in that everybody was like, "Did you rap before? I mean, like no one's ever seen you rap." I'm like, "But I've been doing it my whole life in the car, or in my house." And I feel that way about comedy. I just felt very comfortable because I am a bit of a goofball, and I just think those of us in the theater are used to putting on all kinds of different hats and diving in. When something is written well, we just dive in, and that's how I felt about this.
Did you know immediately when you saw the script that this was going to be just the most fun thing to put together?
I did, yes, for sure.
Well, as soon as we clicked on the FaceTime, Zoom, not FaceTime, whatever, the Zoom table read, and I saw the 4 of us together, I was like, oh, yeah. Well, there we are. That's it. This is going to be the best job I've ever had in my life. And boy, was I correct.
And Paula, same question for you.
Yeah, I just knew, knowing that, because in all good groups of anything, there's the little flavors of different types of people. And I just feel like the 4 of us were such a really good, weird, delicious combo, but we all kind of had some threads that were through. So I knew from the beginning when we just said hi on there, we all had this excitement of like, holy crap, this is going to be really, really fun.
Did you have in mind who you wanted to play these roles, or were people like Sarah Bareilles or Renee kind of the surprise factor to bringing the show to life?
It was very much Sarah was the first cast, which makes sense. And that was a Tina Fey thing that we were all talking about. It could be this. And then I remember network people talking about it. Well, we'll cast her first, and that makes sense. She's, she's number 1 on the call sheet, as they say. And Tina was the one that said, we should talk to Sarah. And we're all like, oh, that's a great thing. Because we saw her, and, we saw her in Jesus Christ Superstar. And so she knew how to handle comedy. That's a joke. But she was a good actor, and she was great when she stepped into her own Broadway show. Who doesn't have that dream, by the way? Everybody wants to step into their own Broadway show, and when she did that, and she was fantastic. That's how that first piece came together. And then after that, it was a series of getting a murderer's row of comedy and music people. We're so lucky. It just one fell after the other to get them in place.
And it does feel, as you're watching it, that they all just mesh so well together. And you can tell that they can play off one another so well.
So they're all so close. I'm not going to say it's sickening, because it's not. It's delightful. No, they were tight friends. They got along very well very quickly. They clicked very quickly. They performed. They figured out their own chemistries with each other very quickly. And it was a joy to be around them all the time.
You all seem to gel so well together. And I'm just wondering if that was right off the bat, or did it take time to build that trust with the rest of the cast?
I mean, it was right off the bat. Like,
it was pretty right off the bat.
Yeah, we both, Paula and we've all been involved in 4,000 different kinds of productions between the 4 of us. But I do recognize and know how rare it is to have that thing. And it does feel really special when you when you do. And from day one, we had this, I mean, I don't know. Like, so we've joked around a lot. We're like, well, it's because trauma bonding because we were doing it during COVID, or, we were just so excited to be with people that weren't our family, or whatever. But honestly, it's just magic when it happens in a cast, and I think that it's always, it is sort of always like immediate alchemy.
I think we were fans of each other too, and some of us knew each other and some didn't. So it was like when we got together, the people we didn't know, we just were basking in them. But then they were such incredible, approachable people, and like Renee was the only one that I had really worked with a few times and adored her. But like when I got with Busy and Sarah, I was just like, well, there you go. We're gonna have fun because sometimes there's a foursome in a show or a different thing, and there's one in the group where you're like, okay, that one's gonna be a little bit of a bird in my ass.
Yeah, I was worried it was me, but it wasn't.
So the show is so musically driven. What was the rehearsal process like to put these musical numbers together?
Impossible.
Really crazy because we couldn't do it in groups. We couldn't be in a big rehearsal hall. We couldn't, and so that was one of the biggest challenges for me, but they did it in great ways to really make sure we had what we needed to learn it. But we would get these files to learn our different harmonies, because we would record things. And sometimes and also that style of music, and Jeff Richmond writing amazing music. And then Meredith Scardino writing these very curly Q, hilarious 90s sort of girl group lyrics, plus being comedy. So you're adding even more curly Qs and more crazy words. That to learn that and to learn your musical notes, to learn my alto line and sing the splingy and these like nonsense words, it was sometimes very hard. And dancing with a mask on in rehearsal for long periods of time was very hard for me because I am an older, hefty woman, and I would really wish I could just rip the mask off, but I believe in masks and still do.
I mean, listen,
Amen.
On record.
We had a lot of things because of the COVID protocols that were put in place that were really difficult for us to rehearse and get these moves and the choreography and the notes right. But thankfully, I mean, we all just kind of like helped each other. And like, even I was thinking about Paula, the night in the mall and the performance of Dream Girlfriends, when we had like, okay, the camera's turning around, we're doing a new setup, you guys have 20 minutes, and we had 20 minutes to go run the choreography to try to like nail it. And Renee was just like, we got to do it. We got to, like we're cheering each other on. And we had James, our incredible choreographer, who was just there like making changes on the fly. Like, oh no, you can't have microphone. Okay, we're doing this. You don't have mic stands. We have to change it to this. It was like,
we had a lot of theater moments. We had a lot of like, we're going to put on the show, whether or not the universe wants us to. We're going to pull it off because we've got heart and we've got the song and we're going to do it. And we learn things separately sometimes per COVID. Everything you learn sort of separately. And then you have to come together, and there's those nuances of rehearsing together that happen, that magic that happens when you're next to each other harmonizing and you figure out what you're going to do. So yeah, we had to do things very fast forward sometimes.
Watching you do the house tour with the bed that's also a car, I was dead. I was full on dead. It's one of the funniest scenes in the whole entire show so far. But I have to say, what has it been like working on a script by Meredith with songs by Jeff? What has that process been like for you to work on?
It's been really a gift because I do best when the people that I'm working for know exactly what they want. They know what they're doing. They know what works. They don't apologize for any idea that they have. I've done well in my career by aligning myself with a really good storyteller. And that's not just Hamilton. I mean, even with David Lindsay Abaire, in this play called Good People, directed by Daniel Sullivan, anytime you're working with people that really understand comedy, you're really safe to play. And that's what it was like with Meredith Scardino and Jeff Richman and Tina Fey. They know exactly what they're doing. They have a really good track record. I have to tell myself not to be worried about being the one time they don't get it right, because they're pretty good at knowing what's funny and knowing what's important.
Right. And with this cast, I mean, between the women of the cast, but then you throw in all of these Broadway juggernauts as well. What has been working with this cast been like? Because you all together, to me, it feels like you mesh so well together.
We just love each other, and we're aware of how grateful we should be to have a job. We're grateful for an opportunity at this stage in our lives to be able to show up and be something and not pretending. It's like, we're not like hiding how old we are. We're not like hiding how vulnerable we are. We're not hiding any of those things. We're actually useful because of those things. And that's really bonding. And these women are all powerful in their own right. Before they showed up to one day of the show, they had already knocked down a whole lot of doors and got my attention and really inspired me. So to be able to sit with them on these stages and take our masks down for a couple of seconds and make something was truly beautiful and truly a gift. And my hope is that when people watch it, they will also feel closer to the humanity that feels like it's in our rearview mirror, but truly is in front of us.
And when it comes to the music for the show, were the songs written prior to casting, or did the cast influence how the music was written? Good
question. The song in the first part of the season, I think the songs we had the cast. We knew who the cast was for the most part, but I don't know that they really informed too much about how the songs were written. Meredith was writing the lyrics to most of those, just with a very broad stroke comedy, 1990s references. Everybody kind of knew what those songs were going to be, and they were going to be misogynistic and inappropriate because that's kind of the light that's being shown on this. And of course, that becomes a more honest voice as the series continues to go forward. But I think once you get about halfway through the season, it starts to change a little bit, because then you realize that if Dawn, who's the character Sarah plays, decides that she's going to start writing the songs, then you're going to have to start leaning towards what her voice sounds like, which we did. And we were able to write songs that felt like they were becoming more honest. And then also we were able to, bless her, or bless her for doing this. I mean, that she graced us with writing a song for the series as well, which weaves itself through the arc of the thing. And so it becomes more honest as the characters in the show begin to own the music. Was that an answer, or just a lot of talk?
Absolutely. I think one of the other amazing things with this show, and granted, I've only been able to watch the first 2.5 episodes, but there is such a lovely empowerment conversation that happens during the show. It's women finding their voices, whether you're 6 to 76. It's all about finding your voice. And I have to say, sometimes in comedy, that can be hard to also have that message come through. Was that something that you all wanted at the very beginning, for there to be this kind of heartfelt message?
Absolutely. I think that all along the way, it was looking to find, this is going to be really, really funny, but in the middle of the story, it's a story with heart. It's about these people who were pushed together as friends. They weren't real friends. They were pushed together as friends. They became friends. They split their ways, and then they come back, and they are thinking their lives and what happened and what's happened over the last 20 years. And you know what? We could have done this if we were in charge of our own. If we had our own voice at the time, we could do this again, and we could do it right this time. And it was from the very beginning. I think that's why that's why the cast is so good too. Isn't it? The casting is that every one of them can deliver a joke and a tear. Like they're all so good. They're such good actresses. Sarah is great.
Sarah's amazing. And I want to also stress the supporting cast in this, the Andrew Reynolds, the Daniel Breakers. I mean, the rest of the cast is also phenomenal in this show.
It is a Broadway fest. It is, if you start realizing who it branches out to, it's an awful lot of fun. Jen Samard, like there's some coming up, and there's some fun like that for sure.
I'm very interested to watch Vanessa Williams as well come through.
Oh my gosh. Has it all.
The female empowerment of finding your own voice in this show is so wonderful to watch as a woman, as an almost 40-year-old woman. It's so amazing to see this show come to be. And I just want to say congratulations to you both, because it's phenomenal.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. That's so sweet. And we are glad that made you feel that, because that's how we feel when we were making it.
Well, that's all I have. So thank you so much for joining iHeartRadio Broadway today. I appreciate it.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.